It is the Play for K game for the Duke Blue Devils, so you will see some pink accents on their white home uniforms this afternoon. Eric Bruton, Palani Spurlock, Dan Outlaw are referees today. Kyra Lambert will start off with the basketball for Duke.
Kyra Lambert, as I mentioned in the opening, has been key to this team in terms of controlling the pace and implementing a sense of urgency with this group.
She'll take the first shot and make it. How's that for a good beginning?
Right on point for Kyra Lambert. It's something that we spoke about yesterday in terms of how she's gained that confidence in her three-point shooting, but in her overall game, and she just showed it on that shot.
Florida State, one of the top scoring teams in the ACC. They average 73.5 points per game on the season overall. That ranks third in the conference. But we'll see how they handle this Duke defense. 5 on the shot clock for this first attempt. It was too strong from Akamu.
Obviously, starting out, you see they're a bit hesitant and not sure what Duke was in defensively. And speaking to Coach Summerall and shoot around today, she mentioned that the key is not to try to figure it out and to just play. So we'll see what they do throughout this game.
The word she used repeatedly was attack. You've got to attack this defense. Gillespie will take the 3. So 2 outside shots to start things off as the Seminoles come up empty. Here is Odom, who you talked about really being that spark in this resurgence for Duke.
And I think everyone that understands the game of basketball, and when you're talking about Duke, you understand that Odom is the key to everything with him. You have Gorecki playing at a high level, but she's the Batman, and so she needs to find her Robin this year.
I like it. Turnovers, though, have been a problem on the season for Duke, as now both teams turn it over. And one issue for Duke today is they will be without the services of Michaela Boykin, the redshirt freshman who's been dynamite coming off the bench for this team since getting healthy.
That's a huge loss for Duke. Boykin gives Duke another ball handler, another creator, and I think that's needed for the type of offense that Duke has.
Out with lower body soreness. I know you were at practice yesterday, Elena, and she wasn't able to do much. Was very limited in shoot around as well. As Williams off the glass and in.
Yeah, it's with Boykins, it's kind of like I've been through it, right? And so just watching her trying to test it out, it's all too familiar to me, and you can just see the frustration that she had on her face, and knowing that her body's not cooperating and doing what she wants it to do.
Morgan Jones with the first points for Florida State. Anime Akinbody-James, not known for her offense, but getting some net as that one goes through. And similarly for Florida State, a player to keep an eye on in terms of her full health is Naja Wofolk, as Jones drives to the basket. But Wofolk is a player who's one of the leaders, one of the big 3, if you will, for this Florida State team, along with Nikki Akamu and Kaya Gillespie. And since her ankle injury against Miami, where she missed a game against Boston College, the last 3 since, those are her numbers well below what we're accustomed to seeing.
I mean, in speaking to Wofolk today, she gave us a little insight on how she was feeling. You know, she mentioned that her lateral movement wasn't quite there. And I think with the type of game that she plays, or just being a basketball player in general, that lateral movement is key. Coach Summerall refers to her as the best defender on the team. And you have to have that movement in order to be at your best.
And that's going to continue in this end of the floor. It's not just about her offense. It's about keeping an eye on Haley Gorecki, which was her job. Her job number 1 coming into today.
Well, off of that rebound, it seems that she seems to be 100%.
She looked pretty good right there, didn't she?
That was a great drive and take by Wofolk. She kind of followed in the wake of the cutting post player for a great finish.
So if we had questions, Wofolk trying to provide answers as to her health.
That was a great drive and a tough finish by Wofolk.
Brings Florida State within 1. Gurecki, one of the best all-around players in the ACC, gets her own rebound, tries it again, and is fouled.
Although Gurecki, came off and got a clean look at the bucket, I noticed FSU working on defending her off of this exact play and shoot around today, in which they switched guard to guard. But that just speaks to the craftiness of Gurecki and what she's capable of doing as an offensive player.
Gurecki makes shots that, for other players, you might say look out of control, look under control, and like they are totally within her arsenal.
I would agree, Jen. She's always in control and knows what she's doing next. It's no reason. I mean, it speaks to her ability on the offensive end, but it's no surprise that she's leading the ACC, and she's one of the top leaders in scoring and also one of the top leaders in assists as well.
Shot clock getting low again. River Baldwin into the game on the interior for Florida State. She misses. One of the things Duke has done, they've won 5 of their last 6, and in that stretch they have been so tough to score on, held their opponents to just 56.5 points per game in that stretch.
Duke has become unpredictable, and I mean that in the most positive light, ever. I think when teams prepared for Duke previously, they knew that they had to play against a matchup zone. Right now, they're not sure what to prepare for defensively.
Blue Devils have certainly added some wrinkles, and it's caused problems for their opponents. Odom will bring the ball up the floor, coming off a 20-point performance on Thursday night in Duke's win at Pittsburgh. And you wonder how much more will be on Lambert's shoulders now with no Boykin to come in and spell her at that point guard position.
Well, I would hope she doesn't view it as a lot being on her shoulder, because I think with her leadership and just her presence on the floor, it brings everything that Duke needs. I think it's a chance for someone else to step into that role and produce offensively for Duke.
Could see a player like Amelia Goodchild coming off the bench, getting more minutes.
She's highly capable of doing that. I mean, she's the quickest to 100 threes in Duke's history. So it's just a matter of her regaining her confidence as well.
Right now, rebounding will be a topic of concern for Duke, as a couple of offensive rebounds for Florida State kept that possession alive, but they still come away with no points. Shot fake from Gurecki. She'll take the 3 now. We've been talking about so much being on the line for these two teams. We'll talk NCAA tournament with Charlie Cream when we come back.
This game today for Duke, they're very much a bubble team. A loss, though, today won't knock them out of the field, but it certainly leaves the Blue Devils far more vulnerable. A win would be enormous. It's a top 25 win. And down the stretch, a lot of bubble teams don't have those kinds of opportunities. So this would be huge for Duke to get a win today. For Florida State, a chance to move into the top 16 with an opportunity to host first and second round NCAA tournament games. Florida State doesn't have to worry about a bid, but they're vying to be able to host those games. But this is Florida State's last opportunity to play a top 50 RPI team. So this is big for the Seminoles as well.
Okay. Charlie, does the committee take into consideration injuries that happen to a team and how that may impact them?
They do. Player availability is important, primarily, though, for seeding. So that's where the top 16 thing for Florida State would come into play. Woolfolk missing that game against Boston College will be taken into consideration as they vie for probably what's going to be the last maybe 1 to 2 spots in that top 16. Before we head into the ACC tournament, where they can change all of that and secure a firm berth in that top 16 with a great run.
Charlie, do you have any concern? You mentioned the lack of top 25 wins for Duke. They're 0-4 against ranked teams this season. If they were to lose this today, you said their position is secure, but as you go down the stretch, could that potentially be a problem, the fact that they don't have a win against the top 25?
Oh, absolutely. And secure for now. Because the rest of the bubble, as I said, is shifting all the time, but not in a way where teams are really becoming upwardly mobile. So Duke is in a better position than most with today's opportunity in a game against Virginia Tech, for instance, later in this season. So, and the ACC tournament obviously brings big potential for bigger wins. But if they don't ever get a top 25 win and they go out early in the ACC tournament, Duke would be very vulnerable. They'd be one of those teams that would have to watch some of those mid-major leagues and make sure that champions like Princeton or South Dakota or Gonzaga win those tournament titles so the at-large field stays bigger.
Charlie, thank you so much. We know these teams would prefer to keep their fate in their own hands. We always appreciate your insight.
Absolutely. Thanks.
2-point game now as both teams have come out of that timeout with a couple of buckets.
A couple of buckets and more of a sense of urgency on both ends, in particular for Florida State. I think they came out early and settled for too many outside shots, which was evident in their field goal percentage. They've come out and hit 3 quick buckets off drives to the lane.
That was Courtney Weber. Both she and Sammy Puisis, along with River Baldwin, in the game. Did not start the game for Florida State. Mila Goodchild is in for Duke, and there's Akinbadi James in the paint.
James is showing us what she's capable of doing. I think you underestimate her. I think she's a raw talent with great potential. Hitting that outshot shot and obviously driving left with the left-handed finish is pretty impressive.
Lambert, we talk about her offense, but her defense so key for this team as well.
Gurecki is showing us what she does best. That's just one of many things in hitting the three. Akinbadi James, as I mentioned earlier, she's showing us what she has in her repertoire, and that's driving left with the left-handed make.
Under a minute to play in a first quarter that is flying by here in Durham. Florida State won both meetings between these two teams last year as Woolfolk knocks down a 3 and the Seminoles take their first lead.
That's exactly what FSU needs to do in terms of just finding those gaps, whether it's off of a pass, whether it's off a drive, kick out for easy shots.
Gurecki caught in the corner. Woolfolk doing the job on defense after she knocks down a 3 on the other end. She's going to be important on both ends of the floor. Lambert will take the shot and hit it. The lead goes back to the Blue Devils.
Lambert is at her best when she's decisive in the things that she wants to do on the offensive end, and this was a perfect example of it. Just having confidence in that step-back 3. I'm sorry, 2.
Was maybe having a little heat check there on that 3-point attempt. She hit one last time down the floor. Now she'll have to end the quarter on defense. Lambert won't have much of a shot to take. And we have a 2-point game with Duke in the lead over 14th-ranked Florida State. ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Heineken 0-0. What it would look like and what's key here, Elena, our two teams, Duke and Florida State, both in those coveted top 4 spots.
Yeah. And I think being in those 4 spots, you obviously get a double bye. And Duke and FSU both have shown the ability to improve with the week off, right? In their bye weeks, I think these are 2 teams that have come back and have played at a different level of intensity, which has been great. So those double byes mean everything to them.
Woolfolk hitting the glass for a couple more. She has 7. Florida State fresh off their bye week, as the last time they played was last Sunday, a win against Virginia.
And I asked Coach Summerall, I asked her what were a few things that you guys felt the need to improve on, and she gave me the look like, are you kidding me, everything. But one of their focuses was just getting better on the defensive end of things. She felt like they had a few breakdowns throughout their losses and their games in general.
Defense and rebounding are 2 things that she said they spent a lot of time on. And Florida State, if you look at the numbers, they lead the ACC in rebounding margin, but that's an area she knows is going to be so important. And Naja Woolfolk using the glass to get her last couple points.
Great job by Woolfolk crashing the boards, and like you said, that's one thing that they worked on. It's just, and they're second or third, I think, in the ACC in terms of rebounding margin with 8.7, and that's an attribute to how they do it.
And Kamu still without a point in this game. She's 0 for 3. Over the last 5, Akamu's averaged just under 19 points per game. Gillespie will let go of 3. She has 5.
I think that play was created by Ikomu drawing 2 and dishing it out to Gillespie, obviously, but I think it's important for Ikomu to stay aggressive throughout the traps. That's when FSU is at their best.
Remember, no Michaela Boykin today for Duke. 3 on the shot clock for Lambert. Odom from the corner. Woolfolk is attacking the glass.
If anything, I think the week off for FSU was key in Woolfolk's recovery. She's looking like her normal self right now. Gillespie showing what she's capable of doing. She can score inside, she can score outside. That was a great shot, great 3-point shot.
Gillespie at the free throw line now, for Florida State. 70% free throw shooter on the season. Gillespie, the ESPN National Player of the Week, ACC Player of the Week. And tomorrow night, the big Monday doubleheader starts in South Bend as Notre Dame hosts Cole Anthony and the North Carolina Tar Heels. That's followed by a Big 12 matchup between Iowa State and third-ranked Kansas at Allen Fieldhouse. Coverage begins at 7 Eastern on ESPN, as well as the ESPN app. Gurecki trying to get around Woolfolk.
Woolfolk is making it extremely difficult for Gurecki to score, and that was one of the things that she emphasized when we talked to her today at shoot-around. Her job is to make her catches hard, to stay in front, and to just be on her, and to make everything difficult.
Well, as someone I know who embraced the idea of being a great defender as well, Elena, how tough is it going to be for Woolfolk today to play that tough defense, to make life difficult on Gurecki and not get into foul trouble?
Yeah, obviously Gurecki, we all know she's a great offensive player, but I think Woolfolk has the mentality and the mindset to get it done. I just think one thing in being a good defender is just staying disciplined and not giving up easy shots. You want every shot that Gurecki takes to be tough, like the one she just took. Although she got fouled, it was still a tough shot.
That time it was Morgan Jones committing the foul for Florida State, sending Gurecki back to the free throw line. She's one of the best in the ACC, both at getting to the line, converting her free throws, and just picking up a lot of points from the stripe.
I think FSU have to be careful in giving her those easy free looks at the goal. When you're working so hard to make her shots tough, you don't want to give up those free throws.
Gurecki nearly 90%. She's actually at 86. I'm giving her a couple extra percentage points, but she's pretty automatic when she gets to the line. 5 of 6 today has tied the game. Akamu can't change that score line. As Anna Baines, a 6'1" freshman from Blackwood, New Jersey, handling the basketball for Duke.
I love the pressure that Morgan Jones is showing and putting on Baines, understanding that she's a freshman coming in. But Morgan Jones, if she can step up and implement herself as another defender for FSU, I think they'll be in good shape finishing out the season.
You wonder, perhaps, if those big 3 will be enough for Florida State. They're certainly going to need some roles to be played by other players.
Yeah, that's something that I've always questioned with FSU. Obviously, you do have your big 3.
Speaking of big players, you know Odom is one of those for Duke. She wants to hear it.
I mean, this kid is impressive. Whenever she decides to play at a high level, Duke can be pretty scary.
to me a little bit about that, Elena, because I know you have talked to her, and you said, you know, she's a California kid, sometimes a little laid back, and that can be misread.
Yeah, I think, you know, and I listen to a lot of the commentators and the analysts throughout the games, and I think sometimes she's misunderstood. She's from California. She's a California kid, and they're pretty laid back. But this kid is extremely talented. I think she knows that. I think everyone around her knows it. So it's just a matter of her picking and choosing. Not picking and choosing. It's a matter of her choosing to be dominant every single night.
She has proven she is the extreme X factor when she does put that effort in.
Absolutely, and I love watching her. I mean, Odom she's long, she's athletic, she's capable of playing multiple positions. Whether she's defending a post player or a guard, she's capable of getting out in the open floor and finishing just the way that she did.
Odom averaging 14 points per game on the season, is leading the team. 54% field goal percentage. It's 4th in the ACC. 6 turnovers now for Duke. Valencia Myers was left wide open, wanted no part of the shot. She'll give it to Puisis, who did not play the last game for Florida State. That week off probably helping her get back to full health as well.
I love how FSU is crashing the boards. It's one of the emphasis that Coach Summerall said that they obviously worked on in their week off. And it's going to be huge against Duke in terms of the way that they play defensively against this matchup zone. I think there will be a lot of opportunities to get that rebound for FSU.
Woolfolk.
They cannot fall in love. FSU cannot fall in love with the outside shot against a team like Duke. You're playing right into their hands.
Goodchild could provide a big boost if she can start knocking down some threes, as we know she is very capable of. Myers took some steps and turns it over.
Goodchild is, I think she's battling a little bit mentally right now. You know, she started out the season starting, and she was playing, you know, pretty well offensively. I think it's a matter of her getting out of her own way and just relaxing a little bit, and eventually her shots will start to fall.
Odom left open, not a good idea if you're Florida State.
Odom is pretty much automatic from 15 feet. I love that Odom takes the shots that she knows she can make. I feel like she never plays outside of herself.
Hence that sky-high field goal percentage we were talking about.
I would like to see Kamu come off of that screen and attack that to the ACC logo to see what she can create from there. Whether it's a shot, whether it's a dish out, whatever it is, it's something good to come out of it.
It's 2 points in the game for Kamu. Odom sizing up her options, wanted to shoot right over Gillespie. Morgan Jones was trying to sneak along that baseline, but the defense just would not allow Gillespie to see her. 3-second violation, turnover, Seminoles. ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Well, guys, we've had 4 ties, 4 lead changes already in this game. We've talked about the postseason implications. Duke trying to pick up their first win against a ranked team, not only this season, but in their last 13 tries. They've lost 13 in a row against the top 25. And how about Odom?
I mean, did you just see that? I mean, she's moving from like the post position to the point guard position. She's really showing what she's capable of doing. I love that adjustment by Coach P and putting her in that position and finding a weakness in FSU's defense.
I was really just trying to finish my point as quickly as possible so we could get to the magic that Odom was creating on the floor.
This kid does something to surprise me every single game, and I question, like, where has it been? But I love watching her evolve.
Well, there's a foul on the floor here. Let's see
this is like what Candace Parker does. I mean, she's a forward, a post, a forward, and she's finishing. extremely well. She can handle the ball. Who knew that she can handle the ball as well as she's handling the ball?
She knew.
Yeah, I guess she did. That's super impressive.
Bring it.
And I mean, I'm lost for words, right?
And last year probably helped her out quite a bit, having to handle the basketball more with Lambert and Boykin both injured for much of the time. Gurecki. By the way, that last foul that was called against Florida State came against Kaya Gillespie. It was for second. I was curious there, and I didn't mean to interrupt you, Elena, but curious whether that would be Wofolk or Gillespie. And it was indeed Gillespie picking up number 2. So she has gone to the bench. Courtney Weber on the floor for Florida State. River Baldwin helping to bring some of that size in the paint.
I love that they're mixing up their defense on Gurecki. Started out with Wofolk. Now you see Jones on her. Put a little bit more length on her. Keep her guessing in terms of what she wants to and can do offensively.
Odom headed to the free throw line. So far it has been all Gurecki from the stripe for Duke in this game. She's 5 of 6. The Super Tuesday doubleheader starts in Madison as Wisconsin hosts Purdue. Then Coach Callen and his 12th-ranked Wildcats square off against number 25 LSU in Baton Rouge. Coverage begins at 7 Eastern on ESPN as well as the ESPN app. Duke continuing to take advantage of their opportunities from the free throw line. Now 7 of 8 in the game. Florida State has been good when they've been there. 4 of 4 so far.
Absolutely.
Baldwin calling for it. Odd positioning against Stockenbody James. 5 on the shot clock. Wofolk will take a very contested shot. Misses everything. Chalk that one up for the Duke defense.
Absolutely. Duke was there on every catch. Pressured them into taking the tough shot.
Right now, it just seems like whether it's Gurecki or it's Odom, Duke is saying we're going to drive hard to the basket and we dare you, Florida State, to defend us without fouling.
Without fouling, and I think that's the one thing that's getting points on the scoreboard for Duke is that they're putting their heads down, they're driving pretty aggressively to the rim and seeing what comes out of that. But Duke, FSU has to be more disciplined in their approach defensively.
That opens up the largest lead of the game for Duke.
On the previous defensive possession, you saw Duke extend their defense with the 2-2-1 four-court press. This is just to slow them down a little bit, but FSU have to attack it and not think twice about what Duke is doing defensively.
This is a Florida State team that in its last road game went to the KFC Yum Center and took down 5th-ranked Louisville.
That's exactly what needs to happen. That's a great drive by Como.
That's what you've been calling for, right?
I've been calling for when Como is aggressive. This team has a great flow offensively. They all wait on her to determine what that pace will be on the offensive end.
Gurecki. Already with 10 points. And she is fouled by Wofolk. It's the second personal on Wofolk.
This is exactly what I've been wanting Como to do. Just attacking off of whether it's a trap, whether it's a one-on-one opportunity. She's going to get something good every single time she attacks, whether it's a shot or a pass for an open shot. I think right now Haley Gurecki is somewhat having a tough time when she's on the perimeter finding shots. And I think you can attribute that to James playing sort of around the perimeter. When James is on the perimeter, it gives FSU defense a chance to just pack that lane because she's not a threat from the outside.
Gurecki continues her good work from the free throw line. All but 3 of her points in this game coming from free throws. She has 13. Baldwin, good passing, finds a wide open Seminole.
Absolutely. They attacked the extended pressure, which keeps Duke out of position because they don't know who to match up with in their matchup zone. It's a great pass by Komu down to River Baldwin for the easy finish.
You talk about attacking a zone. It doesn't necessarily always have to be with a dribble penetration. You can also attack it with your passes.
Yeah, I think that's where there's a gray area, right? It's whether it's attacking with a pass, it's attacking with the cut, or attacking with a dribble drive. Either one of those work, and will break down the defense.
Under 30 seconds to play in our first half from Cameron Indoor Stadium. Mila Goodchild, too strong in her three-point attempt. Weber tries to chase that ball down, but to no avail. It'll belong to Duke.
I like what Duke did in this last offensive possession by putting Haley Gorecki at the elbow and forcing a switch to come in between a post player and a guard rather than the usual guard to guard, which didn't really give her much of an advantage. I like that adjustment by P. It
has been a struggle offensively for Florida State in this first half. Akamu will take the final shot. And the Duke Blue Devils trying to pick up that coveted first win against the top 25. They lead at 34-28 as we send you to the studio. John Brickley, Rebecca Lobo, Charlie Cream.
But the one person that does have the discipline on this squad is Woolfolk. I think she's doing a great job of defending her, taking away what she wants to do, and making every shot hard.
7 points, 8 boards for Woolfolk. Also has a couple of fouls, so something to keep an eye on as she continues to try to keep Gorecki in check. Reminder what's at stake for Florida State, trying to win their way into a chance to host the first and second rounds of the NCAA tournament.
I love the adjustment that Coach Summerall made off of that pick and roll from the wing. Duke does a great job of forcing the offensive player to the middle, and because that's what they want them to do. Bringing that screen into play, getting into that pick and roll action, at least it has an open shot on the backside.
Gorecki, another tough shot as she's going to go to the free throw line again.
Some nights you got to score how you have to score. And tonight for Gorecki is from the free throw line.
That was Morgan Jones committing the foul, her second. It's just the second miss from the line today for Gorecki. 9 of 10 in the first half. For Florida State, who have struggled to really find a lot of consistency on this end of the floor, what are you looking for more of from them?
Just having an aggressive mindset, just like Woolfolk just on cue did. I think a lot of the times the defense that Duke is showing is sort of a facade at times. So when you take your time, when you're patient and figure out ways to attack it, like Woolfolk did with that drive, you're going to be pretty successful.
Woolfolk now with 9 points in the game. Brings Florida State within 3. Seminoles and the Blue Devils have both won their last 3 games. Both had 6 turnovers in the first half.
I think this coming out after halftime is an area of growth for Duke. I think they have the tendency to lose focus a little bit. After having such a good first half, they have the tendency to lose that focus with turnovers and potentially taking bad shots at times.
Blue Devils not wanting to let the Seminoles back into this game. Gillespie. Kai Gillespie named both a mid-season finalist for the Naismith Award and one of 10 finalists for the Katrina McLean Award. So she's being recognized for her work among some of the best in the country.
And rightfully so. Gillespie, she's a great player. She's a 5th year. Obviously, she has some maturity that some players don't have. But she's obviously a key factor for this team. I would like to see her sort of get it on the block a little bit more and score with a more aggressive mentality. Great drive by Odom.
Double digits now for Odom. Gillespie also in the final 20 for the Wooden Award. I want to leave that one out. Woolfolk passed it off to Jones.
I think if Woolfolk was a little bit patient coming off of that pick and roll, she would have noticed a kickback to Gillespie for a wide open shot, because that side of the floor is pretty clear.
Gurecki. Still just one field goal in the game for Haley Gurecki. She was 1 of 6 from the floor in the first half, 1 of 4 from 3.
I think FSU has done a great job of scouting what it is that she likes to do, right? I think they're playing her to go to her left and understanding that's the way that she wants to go. At the same time, they know that the shot is coming up at some point, so they're defending it and keeping a hand in her face and making those shots tough.
Puisis well short on that 3-point attempt.
I like what FSU did on that last offensive possession. They created an overload, which caused Duke to just try to figure out a matchup. Made them move a little bit more out of their matchup zone.
Lambert will take the 3. She was 2 of 2 from downtown in the first half. Then Woolfolk just kept fighting for that rebound. Unfortunately for her, she threw it right back to Duke. Now we'll see what our officials, not quite sure, must be a shot clock issue there that they are looking at.
I know in those moments as a coach, you gotta hate those type of stoppages, right?
Yeah, all that momentum that was flowing,
exactly.
Sometimes it goes right away. Now Duke has to reset, get it to Jade Williams. She has 6.
I think that's an area where Duke has improved, and I know I've spoken on a few areas, but in terms of just being a little bit more patient on the offensive end and not taking the first shot that comes. And this last possession was a great example of that patience.
Gurecki will take it all the way herself. Had 2 Florida State defenders there. They do their job. Baldwin in some trouble, turns it over. Lambert just missed. Williams swung it around, trying to thread the needle for Gurecki, but puts it out of bounds.
I love the sense of urgency that Duke is playing with on the defensive end. So sometimes you got to take the good with the bad, right?
And as long as those turnover numbers stay down and not up in that 18 range where they've been for the season for Duke, that number has been lower in this last stretch where they've won 5 of 6. Woolfolk had 2 defenders in front of her, passes it back out to Akamu, 8 on the shot clock. Gillespie lining up that 3.
See, that's where I would love to see Akamu attack and then figure out what's next. I think at times she becomes extremely passive.
No question that Laeonna Odom knows how to attack. Duke up now. The all-time leading scorer for the Blue Devils, the first female to have her jersey hung from the rafters, and on and on and on. I have many more things here I could say, but Elena, I think one of the things where we've heard your name pop up quite a bit as it relates to this year's Duke team is that all-around type game that you brought that we also see with a player like Haley Gurecki.
Absolutely. I think the one thing that I love about Haley Gurecki is that she consistently competes. She's a competitor, and it comes out in her numbers. And another thing is that obviously she's leading the team in third in ACC in scoring, but also she's leading the team in assists. So that makes her a difficult guard. You don't know. She makes everyone on the floor better than what they are, in my opinion.
And when those field goals aren't falling, she's fine to go to the free throw line, where she's already been 10 for 12 from the line today for Gurecki.
She finds a way to get to the basket, and it all stems from her being a competitor.
Jade Williams, aggressive, wound up in the laps of some of the camera crew there on the baseline, and she is 2 points away from being in double figures.
Jade Williams has been a bright spot for Duke in the last few games. She's turned up her intensity. She's averaging 3 more points than usual, and she's been a key to their success as well. And someone that we don't speak about often, but she's been key.
Yeah, she's been in double figures for 3 straight games. That's the first time in her career. And now, as I just said, she's a couple of points away from making that 4 straight games. Akamu winds up with a basketball, hands it off to Gillespie. And that will be waved off. Offensive foul as Kaya Gillespie a little too strong trying to drive. Top 25, they have a chance to get that today. And Elena, here's what they've got coming up.
Yeah, absolutely. You just spoke on the strength of schedule, and they have some pretty tough teams coming up in NC State and Virginia Tech. Those are going to be huge games for them to determine start of their postseason play.
Remember that Duke played NC State to within 3 points, and that was in Raleigh in their first meeting of the season. And let's not discount that trip down the road to Chapel Hill either. The Tar Heels losing again today. That's 4 straight losses for Courtney Banghart's team. But you know this rivalry.
I know that rivalry, and you don't count UNC out, especially when they're playing at home. And the fact that they lost to Duke at Duke. So it's going to be a big game for both teams.
What's that feel like, Elena, to lose to North Carolina?
I don't know. I've never lost.
That's what you call a setup in this business, my friend.
Good job, Jen.
Akamu from the free throw line will not get the roll. Baldwin, she has been playing some big minutes off the bench for Florida State.
She has, and Baldwin is one of the ones that I would love to see become more consistent. Obviously, she's a freshman and she has a lot of growing to do, but I think she's highly capable of becoming that 4th or 5th option for Florida State.
Anime Akinbody James took a ton of contact on the way to the basket. No foul called either way. She'll get the 2 points.
James continues to surprise me in this game. I guess I shouldn't underestimate her and what she's capable of doing. She hit the 15-foot shot earlier, had a drive with her left, and just finished a tough basket right there.
6 points in the game for Akinbody James. She averages just 4 on the season. Shot clock getting low again for Florida State. The Seminoles have struggled to get into their offense.
That was a great defensive possession by Duke. It took a lot of communication on that screen.
Oh, the little spin cycle for Lambert.
That's how you know when your body's feeling good after ACL tears and picking up the confidence. To be able to come in and do that spin move is impressive.
Later this afternoon on ABC, catch an XFL game as the LA Wildcats host the Dallas Renegades, who will have Landry Jones back at quarterback. Coverage begins at 3 Eastern, noon Pacific on ABC, as well as the ESPN app. Lambert, after that spin move gone awry on the other end, came down and committed her first personal foul.
She didn't finish it, but it was a pretty impressive move, especially coming from someone like Lambert. And knowing her history and what she's gone through.
Yes, as you mentioned, all that time away with the ACL injuries. Weber smothered on that drive to the basket.
Great aggressive drive by Weber, and I think that's what FSU is going to have to do on a consistent basis in order to get a win with this game.
Baldwin was left open on the inbounds, and she made it count. She's in double digits with 10. Lead now 4 for Duke. They've led by as many as 9. Gurecki got just a little bit of breathing room. That was all she needed.
She's always in control on her drives. She sees defenses that, you know, before she makes a play, she knew that she was driving in. She knew Ikoma was going to come back, so she did her little floater. That was a pretty impressive play by Gurecki.
15 now for Gurecki, one of the top scorers in the ACC. Averages over 19 points per game in conference play. That ranks second behind Virginia's Jocelyn Willoughby. Ikamu, nothing but net that time. She has 9.
As FSU was shooting around today, that was one of the spots that they worked on. And Coach Summerall mentioned when she was speaking to us that it was about getting to their spots and working out of their spots instead of trying to figure out what Duke is doing on the defensive end.
When Odom elevates, kiss it goodnight. 14 now for Nay, as they call her here in Durham. Florida State has scored their last couple of trips, but they've given up points on the other end, so they still find themselves down by 6. Kamu's foul. They'll get the ball under the basket.
Exactly. That foul happened because of the attack mentality that Ikamu had in that possession. And I've been saying it all game, but if she chooses to be aggressive on every possession, I think FSU will be in good shape offensively.
Just under 16 seconds. Woolfolk got a wide open look and drained it.
Jen,
One possession game, Laeonna. Crowd counting it down, and we will stay with a 3-point difference. Naja Woolfolk hitting a big shot for the Seminoles to pull them within 3 on the road. Blue Devils lead it 49.
Out here because all of those drives to the rim, she's been bulldozing people for sure.
I like it. I like the added bulldozer part in there. And you know what? As we have found out, that toughness is definitely in Naja's blood. This is a kid who played football growing up. Yes, you heard me right. And when I asked her what position she played, she made sure I knew it was not just one. Wide receiver, quarterback, running back, ages 5 to 10. She made her high school team, and that's when her mom said, no more. Let's focus on something where you're not going to get tackled. Maybe like shot put, which was her mom's sport. And what did Naja go do there? Well, she broke her mom's high school record. So take that, Mom.
I think we all had a little football in our blood growing up.
I played a little bit in the backyard. Yeah. I bet you were the quarterback. Were you? Or you
I was the receiver.
Okay, all right.
I was running the routes.
That makes sense. Williams off the glass, and it is good.
Williams always finds the right spots to be in off of those drives. I think she gets a lot of her easy buckets from those positions, which makes it easier for the guards to maneuver and do what they need to do.
Florida State trying to close this gap. Woolfolk.
I like that miss by Woolfolk. You know, she's still in that aggressive and attack mode. It was a pull-up. She missed it, but it's a shot that she's highly capable of making.
Florida State has been winless in 10 of their last 11 trips to Cameron Indoor Stadium. They did win both meetings against the Blue Devils last year, one in the ACC tournament second round and one in Tallahassee. And Lambert and Woolfolk both went after that basketball and had a big collision. Everybody going silent here at Cameron Indoor Stadium. Lambert has had such a long journey to get back to the floor. 962 days, 2 years she was out with multiple knee injuries. And so, of course, most of these fans here, they're knowledgeable, they know, and they do not want to see that young lady sidelined. Just a lot of contact in there. That knee maybe taking the brunt of it.
That is not what you want to see, especially if you understand the history of Kyra Lambert.
So Lambert will have to get looked at. And remember, no Michaela Boykin today for Duke. We were told she would be a game time decision just before the game. She was ruled out with lower body soreness. So that's true. Your primary ball handlers, if you're Duke, no problem, though. They're going to keep flying. I think they had a mind to try that tip-in play for Odom off the timeout, but they couldn't quite finish it.
Quite possibly. You know, Duke is, you know, obviously you want to see how they respond to not having Boykins and now the losing Lambert. Hopefully she's fine. But this is a team that they've played with in many games, right? So they're familiar with each other and they know how to play.
Akinbody James trying to extend the lead from the free throw line. Misses her first. Reminder that Super Tuesday, we have a doubleheader starting in Madison as Wisconsin hosts Purdue. Then 12th ranked Kentucky, 25th ranked LSU. That's in Baton Rouge. Coverage begins at 7 Eastern on ESPN on Tuesday, as well as the ESPN app.
This will be a good opportunity for a good child to step up and then sort of regain maybe a renewed confidence in what she's capable of doing.
Meanwhile, Florida State needing somebody to step up as well. Kaya Gillespie had to go to the bench. Just picked up her 4th foul, so one of the big 3 sidelined at the moment with foul trouble for Florida State. They trail Duke by 8. Turnover. Pass off some body parts, and Akamu drives and is fouled by Gorecki.
It's a great take by Akamu. This is what FSU is going to have to do in order to get back into this game or to stay into this game. Get their hands, get out in passing lanes, get into transition, and get easy buckets the way Akamu just did.
This is a Florida State team, much like Duke, 5 wins in their last 6. Their only loss in that stretch coming against Boston College. That was without the services of Naja Wofolk. Well, this is a team that typically can get into a flow with their offense and put up points. They average over 73 points per game on the season. 3 times this season, they have been held under 60 points. You can see all of those there, all 3 of them losses.
Well, I think against a team like Duke, it's pretty hard to get into any kind of flow when you're trying to figure out what they're doing defensively instead of just playing the game that you know to play offensively. It was another great drive by Akinbody James.
Sue Summerall not liking what she's seeing on the floor. Timeout Florida State as they trail Duke here at Cameron Indoor. Taking a look, big picture, since we've talked about some other games coming up there in studio. How about the current teams in those top 16 seeds, meaning the teams you see here would have the opportunity to host the NCAA first and second rounds. NC State, Louisville, both listed there. And Florida State with a chance to jump into this group as well if they can get a win on the road today at Duke, but they have some work to do. Duke Blue Devils have had some shaky moments, but for the most part have been the more consistent team on both ends of the floor today.
Yeah, they've been consistently doing what they've been doing for the past 9 games. So there's no surprise there. But I think a positive to take out of the absence of Boykin and Lambert, I'm not sure if she's going to come back in, but the fact that you're able to put Gorecki at the point position to where the ball is in her hands more often. So she doesn't have to work as hard to get a touch.
So there's your silver lining,
yeah,
just seeing those two,
absolutely.
Lambert and Boykin, both on the bench. So Lambert having just come back to the bench, we don't know what her status is. Boykin out for this game with lower body soreness. Duke trying to hang on. Akamu.
FSU is settling, and they've been settling all game for outside shots. I think that was a possession to where Kamu could have given a shot fake. Not that I'm trying to coach a game, but she could have given a shot fake and penetrated to the goal for an easier bucket, either from her or from a teammate.
It's got to be so tough, Elena, facing the challenges that Duke presents defensively, their length, their changing shapes, to not settle for those shots that magically open up, but they may not be great shots that open up.
Absolutely, and this is a discussion that I've had with numerous teammates in terms of, like, what is an open shot, right? Yeah, you may be left open, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's the best shot. And I think as you grow, as you become more experienced, you start to understand the difference between the two. But I just think FSU probably needs to play with just a little bit more patience, right? Let the play develop a little bit more. Let the defense decide what it is that they're doing.
Woolfolk had that last bucket for Florida State. She wants a little more. Gurecki behind the back. Lambert getting ready to check in. That is a great sight if you're Duke fans. Everybody holding their breath as she went down to the floor. Had a collision with that knee that's in a brace already. And Gurecki, guess where she's going to go? Back to the free throw line.
Guess where she's going to go, but guess where she went? She went left, right? I mean, it's interesting how many times she goes left in order to get that bucket.
That's the crowd applauding for Lambert returning to the floor. A lot of pink in the stands as it is Duke's Play for K game, raising funds and awareness for all women's cancers. Great initiative from the late great Kay Yao. 17 in the game for Gurecki.
12 of 14 from the free throw line.
Not a bad line. Boy, has she had to work for it today. Puisis, that's a big three. Seminoles needed some other contributions, and the freshman from Mason, Ohio provides it.
Great three-point shooter. I think we need to see a little bit more of her. But I think that comes also from the aggressiveness of the perimeter players in terms of getting into that lane and kicking to shooters like Puisis.
Good defense by the Seminoles. Puisis ready to slow things down. She gets the ball away from the trap.
You have to take advantage of that mismatch with Gillespie on Lambert inside. But I'll take that shot as well.
That'll do too. Nothing but net for a Kamu. Florida State creeping back into this one on the road.
Puisis, who credit
Florida State on a 7-2 run to pull this game back within 4. The Seminoles have not led since the first half. And the score was 22-21. It's been Duke out in front ever since. Lambert got through the first challenge, but then has the ball batted away. Now everybody down on the floor trying to get it. It's going to go with the possession arrow, and that'll go toward Florida State.
I love that possession by Lambert. She came out and basically just told us that everything is okay. She was aggressive off of that trap, diving on the floor for a loose ball. I remember a couple of weeks ago talking to Lambert and asking her why did she decide to come back, because I remember one of our last conversations was her deciding between playing or not, and she said it's like a drug. All right, and she's got to have it. So I love seeing her back out there.
I know you know that feeling, and I know it was a tough decision for you to announce the retirement from the game earlier this year.
It wasn't a tough decision to announce it. I knew I was going to retire. I just didn't want to announce it, right? Another great shot by Puisis.
Yeah, she's come up big now. A couple of threes from Puisis, and all of a sudden a one-point game. Gurecki was fouled.
Great movement, another great three-pointer by Puisis. FSU is going to need those type of shots to pull out a win.
That foul on the floor, so it'll be Duke basketball on the baseline. Gurecki will get it back from Odom. Try the three. Winds up with Woolfolk. who's already with a double-double. Had 8 rebounds in the first half, 11 now in the game for Wofolk to go along with her 14 points.
I understand that you sometimes want to be patient in this sense, but you had Gillespie one-on-one against James on the block. You got to get it in there to her.
5 now for the Seminoles. Akamu calmly takes the 3 and drains it. Florida State takes the lead.
If you're not getting it to Gillespie on the block, I'll take that 3.
So will Florida State. The Seminoles on a 13-2 run. Where have the Duke Blue Devils gone? Has been the most aggressive player for Florida State, but they've started to get some more contributions from other players like Puisis, like Akamu.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's going to be needed for them to go as deep as they probably want to in the tournament. You have your 3 main scorers in Gillespie, Wofolk, and Akamu. You need someone else to step up and take on that challenge.
Meanwhile, for Duke, a team who will get 2 more points from Odom and tie this thing up. But Duke, all 5 of their ACC losses by 5 points or less. Can they find a way to get a close win against their first ranked opponent? They've played ranked opponents, but they haven't beaten them. Can they take down Florida State? That's a good look inside. Myers, though, can't finish.
Great look inside, but also a great recovery by Duke in terms of making her rush that shot. But those are shots you have to make in a moment like this.
Crowd loud and proud, and they love that play by Odom.
They executed that play to perfection. I like the movement off of the back cut. Another back screen from Gorecki. As a defender, you got to decide if you're gonna guard Gorecki at the 3 or guard Odom at the rim.
The answer is Akamu being aggressive. She does draw the foul.
As you can see here, at first it started with the back cut by Lambert, but then you got another pick by Gorecki who set Odom up for the lob. Great finish by Odom.
Gillespie caught in a tough spot there too, playing with 4 fouls, a little behind the play. Not much she could do when Odom elevates up behind you.
I think when it's under 2 minutes within the game, communication is huge, and I think there was a lack of communication on that screen for FSU.
16 points in the game now for Akamu. Make it 17 and another tie, the 6th of this game. We've got a good one here in Durham.
We have a good one. I think in this case for Duke, they want to be as patient as possible and make sure they get the ball in the hands of the right individuals. Duke went back to that same offensive play, and FSU did a great job of not getting beat twice.
Gorecki, little bobble, recovers. Now tried to hand off to Williams. Tough angle. One we often see her get, but still an awful lot of traffic to get through.
I think Gorecki probably should have tossed that up, whether she made it or not. You had the defense coming over, which was giving Williams a chance to get an offensive rebound in that case.
When you think about Gorecki, who had 10 free throw attempts in the first half, just 4 in the second half.
Just speaks to FSU becoming more disciplined in their game plan and what they wanted to do against Gorecki, being more locked in.
Turnover on this end. That'll give it back to Duke. And as the crowd goes crazy, everybody's pulse quickens. We'll have a timeout on the floor to settle things down.
This game.
Puisis knocking down a couple. You remember Akamu stepping into hers.
It's a great shot by Akamu. As I said before, she was decisive in what she wanted to do. And she took her time and she knocked down a big shot.
Just about 30 seconds left to play in this one. Duke looking for its first win against a ranked opponent. Florida State looking to get a shot at hosting in the NCAA tournament, but they've got to defend Gurecki.
That was great patience, a great finish by Gurecki. I love that they used all of the time that they needed to get the shot. Hopefully they'll get a good shot out of it.
I remember their game on the road at Syracuse earlier this year. Kaya Gillespie had what she probably thought was a game winner until the Orange stole it in overtime.
That was just a well-executed play on Syracuse's part.
Can Florida State do it here on the road at Duke? And Como, what a drive! Timeout. As now Duke will have a chance to set things up. And the basketball after that timeout as well.
I think we all know where the ball is going, right? Let's see if they can get it there.
I'm guessing Gurecki being the leading candidate, but Odom inbounding. Let's keep an eye on her too.
Possibly.
Gurecki, 3 defenders around her. The drive, and it is blocked, but a foul is called.
I got to see this one again. That was a great drive by Gurecki. I'm not sure about this one. Oh, yes, she got her. She got her on the arm.
Valencia Myers committing the foul, so we just talked about Haley Gurecki.
That's a tough foul.
Getting the ball, getting the job done on the free throw line. She has 20.
That's who you want on the free throw line. 13 for 15. 14 for 16 from the free throw line.
Still one timeout left. Sue Semrau will use it. Now a few less seconds for Florida State to set things up.
Let's see if they can execute back-to-back plays as well as they did the first one.
2-point lead for Duke. No timeouts left for either team. Woolfolk to inbound for the Seminoles. That is a foul. Haley Gurecki a little too aggressive going after the ball. And Duke, though, has one to give still. Florida State not yet in the bonus, so not shooting yet. A couple of 10s go off the clock.
Gurecki was a bit overzealous in the pursuit of the ball here. This is where discipline comes into play on the defensive end. And that was an unfortunate foul.
So the next foul, Florida State would be shooting.
I guess it wasn't so bad of a foul then, right?
We'll take it.
We'll take it, yeah.
Woolfolk gets it to Akamu. She has to take a deep three. It won't go. And the Duke Blue Devils hang on, knocking off their first ranked opponent of the season.
Great defense by Gurecki in that last play.
This resurgent Duke Blue Devil team ups their conference record to 9-5, trying to stay in that top 4